I'm welcoming Catalina Jaime online. She joins us online. Catalina Jaime from Red Cross and Red Crescent Climate Center joins us today. I don't know if she can hear or see me. Hello, Catalina.
Hello, I can hear you perfectly. Hello, everyone.
There you are. Hi, welcome, Catalina. So the floor is all yours.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thank you for the invitation to the event. I am so sorry I cannot make it in person. I was actually planning to be with all of you there, but I got COVID. So no way that I could join you. But yeah, I'm very, very glad that I'm able to share some key ideas of the work that we are doing at the Climate Center on this topic. So let me just get started. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Climate Center just to get started. So we were created 21 years ago. So imagine in a moment where like really nobody was thinking about the humanitarian implications of climate change and was not really thinking about like what the world would be in a changing climate. The topic of displacement has been always at the forefront of what we do, the work that we do with different partners in the movement and outside. And communicating about this has been also a big priority. So to get started, I wanted to share with you a video that was created by my colleague Pablo Suarez and an associate poet that works with the Climate Center, Reggie Gibson, which I hope you will appreciate. It's really, I absolutely love how impactful it is. So let me just share it with you very briefly to get it started. 1 second. I'm gonna get there. I hope the sound is gonna be good. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So let me just minimize this so it's not gonna interrupt. So let's get started.
I want you to take a moment to consider. Consider those who live on island nations and the tough decisions they are facing. See, they're losing precious land, and there seems to be no backup plan. And, well, they all need to know, should they stay or should they go? They're asking, please, 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 can someone stop the rising seas? Avert, minimize, and address this loss and damage and distress. Will you help? Yes or no? So, should they stay or should they go? Should they stay or should they go now? Because their homes are about to drown now. If they go, there will be trouble. And if they stay, it will be double. Do they want to leave? Oh no. But should they stay or should they go? Another season without crops, typhoons and storms that will not stop. Global action now is needed because the science wasn't heeded. They're now more vulnerable, you know. So, should they stay or should they go? Remember, Paris brought some hope that we would help their nations cope. 100 billion a year was promised. But if we're going to be honest, the help has not exactly flowed. So, should they stay or should they go? Should they stay or should they go now? Because their homes are about to drown now. If they go, there will be trouble. And if they stay, it will be double. Do they want to leave? Oh no. But should they stay or should they go?
Good. I hope you know, like you get a little bit of that feeling. Oh, 1 second. I think I need to stop this. Yeah, so I hope you know that this video kind of like brings a little bit of some feeling to the discussion that you're gonna have today. So to get started my presentation, let me just share very quick my screen. And there you go. Can you see the screen, Verna? There you go. Good. So I wanna divide my talk in 3 parts. So first was the should I stay and should I go, as a way of like just to show you the type of communication that we have created in the Climate Center to talk about this topic. Then I'm gonna go a little bit down into that intersection between root causes and conflict and climate in Latin America with some very specific examples, and then just wrap up with a couple of recommendations and a big question. So we already saw, ready. Now, this a cartoon or illustration was created a couple of years ago as part of a cartoonathon that we developed with the ICRC and other partners. And I feel that is just very key to bring to the discussion today. Because as Reggie was saying in the video, no, like one of the big decisions in the context of like climate that populations need to do is to decide, like, should I stay or should I go? But the world is more complex than that. And I want to bring here the complexity of what like many populations in the world are facing, which is this mix of root causes of historical reasons of inequality, but then also added the conflict that we see in many of the humanitarian contexts that many of us like work on. So I think it's a really powerful graphic that shows, you know, like how populations move from one displacement to another type of displacement. So there is not really a linear process in which, you know, a population gets displaced once. But no, actually, and for me, this is very close to my heart. When I was in Colombia in my early career, the first response that I had to do was on populations that were displaced by conflict, by the violence in Colombia, and that were affected by a horrible flash flood that destroyed all their houses. Therefore, they had to displace once again. So I think this has been something very strong across all my career. Now, let's look at this in a concrete example of what is happening. So this is a picture that I think is extremely shocking and powerful from a reportage of the New York Times last year. So this is in a jungle called El Darién, which is between Colombia and Panama. So as many of you probably know, there are thousands and thousands of migrants, mostly from Venezuela, Colombia, but as well Haiti, many other places that are crossing this jungle every day. And the root causes of that are many. So we have the instability of Venezuela, the political crisis, the like social disconnect, the high levels of violence, added plus the conflict in Colombia. But what many of these populations are facing through all this journey that they are going through is also the impact of climate. So they have been as well impacted in the different places where they are like crossing by floods, by heat waves, by droughts. So you see that complexity of how not only those root causes of displacement are creating the movements, but as well all these different disasters that are happening. So now I want to go up to Honduras. So as you probably know, a lot of these migrants that are crossing from the Darien, they will go up to Panama, cross all the different countries, and get at certain point to Honduras. A very important case to illustrate the complexities of displacements is what happened in 2020 with the storms, tropical storms Eta and Iota. So if you are not aware about it, it was a very destructive or two very destructive tropical storms that happened just one after the other. And it was very unusual. It really marked the first time that two major hurricanes actually were like happened in November, which is normally when the hurricane season finished. And just the fact that they were like just one after the other and in the middle of the pandemic that created a lot of disasters. The key issue here is like what happened to all those migrants that were in those main cities in Honduras? Well, they were displaced again. So hundreds of not only the Honduran population that was really vulnerable displaced, but also again those migrants that were just in a kind of like a stationary moment trying to wait for the next caravan to go up to the US, they were again displaced. So the complexities that brought up these two tropical storms were enormous. Honduras, like until now, they're still facing the consequences. But I want us to unpack a little bit this more, because I think from this talk, that's one of the key messages I want to bring. No, like displacement is a really big, complex process. So let's look at this. Like this graphic really show us the complexity of the different things that the population had to face in a given moment of time, but also considering the past. So you see these two tropical storms like Eta and Iota that induce rainfall that at the same time cascaded into floods and landslides. But let's look at that during that same storm or hurricane season, there was a lot of rain that had a lot of like soil saturation, dams were at full capacity. And if we add on the top of that all the deforestation and sedimentation that existed, then of course the hazard will become even more complex. But one of the elements that I really want to bring into this discussion, and I hope you will take this through the day, is that we need to count as well for the past disasters that happened. There was a terrible drought in the area between 2014 and 2019, as well as a dengue epidemic, and of course on top COVID. All those elements created internal migrations, meaning internal displacement of the population. But it's not only that. We also have Honduras, and as you can see on the background, the representation of the systematic violence that Honduras faces, one of the countries with the highest homicide rate. So you see that cocktail of all the different elements that, of course, is creating that push factor that leads people to move more. So this is really a way to illustrate how we really need to look at displacement from a systemic perspective and trying to understand how the different root causes with the different hazards can like interact to really be able to understand the dynamics. Because if we are able to do that, then we will be able to tackle the root causes of displacement and trying to identify and support populations in the best way. So now to finalize, I just have a couple of points in terms of a kind of like a call for action. And I think one that many of you probably are very involved is basically about climate finances and the importance of climate finances in the context of displacements, but really with that focus on reducing systemic risk. So we need to see climate finances complemented by many other like funds that are around to really understand what are all these root causes of disasters that need to be tackled, that need to be addressed to be able to reduce this systemic like risk. And another point that is very close to my heart, and that's why I'm the head of the climate and conflict unit at the Climate Center, is that need for climate action for people affected by conflict. So we know clearly that in this context, where you have like so many exacerbated vulnerabilities, there is not much climate action happening, or disaster-based action. And like tackling that and being able to support adaptation in this context is also extremely essential for displacement. And then a last one, which I hope that you will discuss during the day and really bring a lot of the examples and the needs, is that at the end, the solutions really have to come from local communities and local organizations. They have to be really at the center of addressing climate-related displacement. So those I'm pretty sure that you will discuss many of them today. I wish I was there with you to unpack a lot of these. But I think something that is very important in the context of this symposium is that we are at a critical point of thinking, what is the future of humanitarian action under a changing climate? Like 20 years ago when the Climate Center was created, that was a big question. But I think our founder didn't really think that it would be not as so complex as what we are living today. So I think there are really big changes that we need in the way how humanitarian action happens to be able to support populations in the next like 10, 20, 50 years. And I think we are the moment with these type of events to try to think, no, like what is the future that we want to see and what are our priorities. So with that, I will stop there, but thank you so much, Verena, again for the invitation. And yeah, looking forward for any questions.
Thank you, Catalina. Thank you. We will be given the possibility to ask questions after the 3 presentations, so I don't know, I hope you can stay with us. Otherwise, we will make sure that you get the questions and are able to answer them. Thank you so much, Catalina.
Thanks, I can stay.